Hi and welcome to Lighting It Up with Jennifer Cox. That is me. Today we're going to be talking to Karrie Liu, and Karrie has a really interesting story about how she moved from Hong Kong to the UK, how much she loved math, how she ended up in working in health, a lot of interesting angles and changes, but one consistency throughout, which is her ability to advocate for herself and do something that she feels passionate about. So if you want to be inspired by Karrie, carry on listening. I want to know, well, I know about you because I've been reading your awesome profile. But that's as much as I know about you. But I'd like to know a bit more about Karrie and what makes you tick, and how did you get into the area that you're in?
Oh, I am Karrie. Nice to meet you all. And my background is slightly unusual. So before 17, I was born and bred in Hong Kong. So the reason why I come to UK is I cannot study A level in Hong Kong because I do not do well in GCSE. So that is why I come to UK. And then when I come to UK, I coming for something called exchange student program. So it's a government program that will ask you allow a teenager who stay with the local family for a year. Basically, it's about learning the culture and also like learning about like just normal life, just exchange. And for me, I'm like, well, I it's great because I'm never really good at English and things like that. Would be good experience kind of thing. So since then, I stayed there for my A level, and then after A level, they asked me if I want to stay longer, and then they are like, oh, okay, if you want to stay longer, we will have you and things like that. So if you ask me who is my mom and dad, I would say that I got three different sets of mommy and daddy. One is my birth parent in Hong Kong, the other one is in Nottingham, that from my host parents that who look after me, and the last one is my at that time I met a British gentleman when I'm in A level, and his family looking after me quite a lot. So when I'm talking about parents, so I got three different set of parenting about like I got a really traditional Chinese background that you need to be strict A student, and then I got one that host parents is really free range style that as a kid you can just do whatever you wanted, and then I got more traditional British style that like mommy and daddy is really encouraging and always help you. So that is why I'm here. And for me to get into tech is so when I'm in university, I don't know what I want to do. I know I'm really good at mathematics, but my Chinese parent really want me to do accounting, like the more like traditional professional type of degree. So I tried to apply for it, but when I at school, when I applied for UCAS, my teacher at that time in math saying that if I don't do math in university, it will be a waste of my talent. That's what he say, and he also say that he had been teaching for more than 20 years. I'm the second best children that he ever had, but I don't understand why he's second best. Why can't he be the best anyway? So he kind of encouraged me to saying that, well, math is your thing, you should go for it and stuff. So after that, I did listen to him and say, well, okay, you're right, and my heart do want to do math, but I don't know how to say no to my parents, so I did that. And after I put in my UCAS form, my mom and dad didn't talk to me for 3 months because they think that why are you doing math? Is no future, no nothing. So that is how it
Yeah.
started. And then why I go into healthcare and data and stuff is, so when I in university, my first year, my Chinese grandmother, so my father and mom, suddenly passed away on ambulance. So on the way to going to hospital in the ambulance, she pronounced pass away, and the reason is she got a heart attack. She she was really healthy. She never really going to hospital and things like that. She like is a happy grandma. I go to her, she go to me, and then it's really hurt me. It's like that was 2004, so it's like 20 years ago. I'm like, at that moment of time, as a 20 years old girl, I'm like, what is going on? No one can
Mhm.
answer me the question. Is anything like that? So I have a really desire to say, I really want to work in healthcare. I don't really care about what about healthcare, but I just want to work in healthcare. But I don't want to be a nurse because I'm not from a nurse background. I'm not from a clinical background. So that is how that suddenly it's like, what can I do being a mathematician that who can go into healthcare and work in technology? So that is how it started. And after I graduated, I got a really great thing, and Department of Health take me in for 1 year contract to just like have a look and stuff. And I'm really interested in it because I didn't realize data analytics is a thing. No one tell me about it. I don't even know Excel before I start that job. I don't even know anything. It's just like, okay, if you want me to do anything, I will do it. You know what I mean? And that is like, and also like because of that chance, I realized that I can do it, and not bad either. So that is how I start to study more, and also like in the industry, like in the NHS for 10 years before I living out, and also like a lot of different things add on. So I'm like, oh, I didn't realize that data is a thing. I didn't realize I can good at it. I didn't know that, being good at mathematics can be good at number and algorithm and coding. I didn't know about that. So I encourage people to think about like alternative because of like my background of this. I didn't realize I can study in healthcare from this angle.
Yeah.
And nowadays, if you're looking about like 20 years later now, data becomes our daily life now, and coding and stuff. If you ask me then, I would say, well, computer science definitely not my thing. Coding is not my thing. Technology is not my thing. But I'm good at number. So what can we do? And then I start to build on the thing that I love. So here I am today that I'm, working with different company and pharmaceutical company, NHS and stuff that way. About everything I do so far is all about healthcare, lumber, and
I think wow, there's so much in that story, and I think taking a few pieces from it, what I see and I love the most about it is that we're often taught to kind of push ourselves in a specific direction, like go for career type A, career type B, or career type C, and not often taught to think outside of the box about how you might do that. Where you've managed to find something that you really love, and find a passionate reason for getting involved. Like really love being the math, a passionate reason for getting involved in the healthcare side because of your grandmother, and go up against the traditions and principles of your parents, which is really, really difficult to do. I've had times when I've done it, and yeah, that, a lot of people will succumb to that and end up in a career they don't want to be in for a long time. And then especially, I think, I know in my family, I'm one of six, and the boys could do whatever it was that they wanted to do, but the girls weren't expected to kind of go against the grain. We were, if we did something that was a little bit different, we had to have a damn good reason for doing it, and then, explain ourselves. Whereas there was a more freedom of choice as such to the boys at the time. Now, not with the generation of kids that I have, but to hear that all of those things take great confidence, and with such a background so varied as yours, to have that confidence as well is fantastic.
No, I do not have confidence. I know it sounds really weird because I think it's because I do have a really good people around me. Whenever you say the checkpoint or milestone moment, like if I don't have that math teacher, I won't go that way. If I don't have my British side of the parenting, I won't go that way because they are the one that were telling me that the thing that I want to do is not wrong. Does that make sense? It's like, because as a girl, you normally it's like, oh, if my mom and dad say that is wrong, or people outside saying that is wrong, I don't want to do it. But at the same time, it's like when I look at it, they are the one who give me a confidence. Especially my ex-mom saying to me that everything that you do is not wrong. It's fine. It's okay to do it. But at the same time, the other thing is a cultural clash, because Asian background, they measure success based on money, and that is true. And that is different than the British style that is like, as long as you can look after yourself, we are happy for you.
Yes.
That is a really different thing. And being a girl, another thing is like always secondary from an Asian background point of view. So for them to sometimes be saying that, oh, if you're a girl, you need to do X, Y, Z. So I give you an example. So 2019 is my first ever like national award situation. It's the first one that I got. And then if you talk, I should go back to 10 years ago. So basically, in 2009 is the day that I got my master's degree. My British parents come to my graduation all the time. Fine, happy.
Yeah.
Also, my Chinese parents at the time also come over to my graduation. It's great. They never go outside Europe, and then they manage to come in. It's great, fine. And then the first thing my father said to me is, it'd be so much better if you're a boy. On the day that I got my graduation.
Really? And why would it have been better if you were a boy? What would have, just being a boy would have made it better?
Because we won't be married outside the family, right? So that is one thing. So I'm like, oh, okay. So you think I can be better? So after that 2009, right? That time, I'm like, okay, what if I do really good in my career? Not because of him, but like, I'm going well, I'm doing good. So 2019, when I got the woman in top 100 woman in technology, I thought, hey, done it now. You know, I got a piece of paper tell I'm good, right? So,
yeah.
The first thing he said to me after he's saying is, do you got anything out of it? Then I was like, what do you mean have I got anything out of it? Like, have you got any money out of it? I'm like, no, it's just a recognition to say that you're doing a good job. And then he said, why would you do it? There's nothing in it. Stupid. You're like,
oh.
And then you're like, I'm not angry. I'm not angry. I'm more frustrated is more the right word. And you're upset because you're like, I didn't do anything wrong. Is why you need to be so negative about it? I didn't even do anything wrong. You don't need to say anything good. At least you don't say anything. So I post that story online. Not have a good father. It's nothing about that. It's just more about like, hey, I think I'm doing pretty good for myself. I'm not saying I'm a millionaire, not like that, but I'm doing pretty good for myself. I'm doing something that I love. I have a respect, people respect me on the career that I'm doing, and also like my name is out there. It's like people know about it. And Karrie doing a good job, right? Yeah. And then I didn't realize that is when I post that online, a lot of young girls contact me directly, especially from Asian background.
I love that. I love that. Do you think then, like, I know I found with something like whether it's LinkedIn or other social medias that you can get a perspective of the impact that you're making, which you wouldn't have gotten 10, 20 years ago because you wouldn't have had the same access to people, or they wouldn't have had the same access to you. So people are reaching out to you. How do you manage those perspectives and that feedback? You're going to hear stories from difficulties to wins from people. How do you manage all of that kind of feedback? How do you feel about it?
Sometimes us just want to know that we are not alone. That I think for me to know is like I'm not alone, because the difficulty, if you ask me, is it like to the point of killing me? I'm like, no, it's not, but it's frustrating, upsetting. Yeah. Am I really doing something wrong? That is the problem about girl, especially from an Asian or Chinese girl, is like we always have no confidence about, am I doing it right? Am I doing it wrong? Are you okay with me doing it? It's just like that. And sometimes, when we are younger, I don't think we have more people like me or people that is different, because we're as a society, we're so have a block like, this is the block you should go, this is the block you should go, this is the block you should go. But you can have alternative, but that alternative doesn't necessarily mean that it's easy. It's hard. When that is something outside the box, it's different. It's hard. That is true. And now, but the thing is, you can only do is try your best to do it. And to be honest, even though now a lot of relatives that I got in China and in Hong Kong is not really that supportive still, but doesn't mean that I'm doing things wrong. And I have a company that I do corporate work with NHS England or pharmaceutical company, but at the same time, I managed to have a volunteer team that people want to do work for charity, that we can do something together. That not only benefit for me, but also when we are younger, we're very difficult to find a work experience. We find you want to help the world. You want to use the skill to help the world. Sometimes, yes, I understand internship should be giving money, but sometimes I'm not in the position that I can offer that. But at least I'm not taking you for granted, because I know that someone else like HUK need our help. So we can do a project together to benefit them as well. So
Yes.
you can do it differently. So that is why I'm trying to say is like, yeah, outside the box is different. But if I can try to help you or do something together to make our life a little bit better, I don't see why not.
Absolutely. I'm part of the generation that was raised to think like you donate money to charities and research and all of these things, and that's where you make the difference. It never occurred to me until I was a fully fledged grown up that you could potentially work with those charities or work with those organizations that are making a difference, which is what you're doing. So maybe there's no donations going in that direction, but you're the people that are making the difference by taking the information and making it usable, identifying things that are changing, that are happening, that are useful, so that we know what direction things should go in. And that's something that for me anyway, as a child, I couldn't even conceive of the possibility of being on that side of the fence. It's an immense honor and an immense challenge, I'm sure, to be a part of it. So with your job now then, what does your day to day look like? What are you involved in or working on that you're enjoying the most, maybe?
I'm working with different company to like pharmaceutical, for example, at the moment. So it's more like a business analytic manager job that is doing a lot of like, sometimes it's coding, sometimes it's more like data analytic work. So part of that. And the other part, I was in different charity. I'm working with 7 different charity for different things. And that is
Wow.
why I love. So it's like you got a job that you pay the bill, and then you got something that you can do to help people. And that is why I love it. And the other thing I'm quite excited is I'm, finger crossed, I should be starting the PhD doing women health on data analytics in a month's time. Yeah, so I'm really excited about it, because it's everything that if you ask me what I'm doing, they are interlinked with each other. I cannot say that it's this experience linked to that or things. It's all my career for the last 15 years that they got a little bit linked with each other. So that is another advice I would give the people around me or junior analysts or just going to. Sometimes you don't know that experience can help you for what, but experience is an experience that no one take away from it. You may be using that later in your life. You just didn't realize that. So I would say if you got a chance to do things that you want to just try it out, because no one can say no. And also, don't ever afraid to mix and match skill set and industry. Like you said before, you didn't realize that data science can link with charity, and it does.
Yeah, so many places.
So
and then on the women's health side of it, so the work that you do in the women's health, I mean, I have so many questions because obviously I'm 45, so I've experienced most of the big deals of women's health so far, and I'm now at that wonderful menopause stage that nobody talks about nearly enough. Are you the work that you're doing? Does it cover all of the big keys? Like, because when I say that, I mean like pregnancy, periods, birth, and post pregnancy, mental health that comes with those kind of things, and menopause, and I'm sure other things I'm not even beginning to cover. They're just the standard ones women can be expected to go through. Do you cover all of those, or are you focusing on any particular area?
sometimes mix and match, because like I said, I'm working in the industry for like last 16 years now. Sometimes it's honestly it's a mix and match. So I'm recently working with a startup company that who focusing on IVF type of like frozen egg.
Yeah.
Right. So like you say, things like that we never talk about it. Not even now. We don't really talk about it. What is this? Why are we doing that? Is that beneficial? Because we really funny the education is, if you're looking at it, when we're younger, as a girl, like you say, period, primary school, secondary school is how to not get pregnant. Right? it's about that. But the thing is, it's like, and then after you go to university or even older, they don't even talk about how to get pregnant, how to look after yourself.
True, actually, yeah, you
how
don't get
to
told
like,
that.
yeah, and also they don't talk about is like maternity, how the body change. What
Mm,
you know, but the thing is they're all linked together, right? So I mean, you will say that a maternity is not linked to the gentleman. I tell you what, actually, that is the one that linked to them the most because
really?
you
Why
cannot
would you
without a
say that?
family. No, I won't say it like that, but like they don't think about, they think about woman health is just about woman, right? From a
Yeah,
gentleman point of view, they think about woman health is about woman. But the thing is, it's not true. The thing that links to you directly is like when your wife is pregnant, your whole family unit changed.
true,
Just not just woman, but no one
true.
talk about it. Not even company to like you know think about it because like you say the traditional pathway is, oh, you go into the company a few years time, you go higher level guy, higher level, but you never really talk about, hang on a minute,
No.
what if gentlemen want to do something, and also IVF as well. If you want to get pregnant, not necessarily about the gen, not necessarily about the lady that who cannot conceive or anything. It's both. You need two people
Yes,
to do it.
yes. That's fair. I hadn't even thought of it that way. And I mean, I've known people. I think almost everybody knows somebody that's been through IVF. And I have a family member that was 9 years before they finally got pregnant, but they didn't even talk about their IVF experience until they got pregnant. And I know as a family member, what I would be thinking is, man, so I could have been more useful to you. I could have helped more had I have known you were going through all these things. There's a tendency for people to, it's like there's shame in it somehow because they're having to do it a different way as such to get the same result that people like me. I've got four boys and I swear I don't even have to try. So I think it probably makes it even more difficult for them to have those conversations. But do you think that we could do, as a community or a culture, that we could do more, we could do better to support both women and men then that are going through IVF in making them feel more comfortable talking about the fact that they're going through it?
Absolutely, because like you say before pregnancy, right? Just think about the life cycle of us modern human being.
Yeah.
Like you are talking about both gentlemen. Like if we go to A level and then I'm saying go to university and then let's say even though you don't go to university, you go to apprenticeship and things like that. They're all fine. But
Yeah.
when you start to think about to have child, you need to think, first thing you think about is like, am I financially stable? Right? That is the first thing
Yeah.
that you kind of think about. Am I financially stable? The second is, have I got someone to do it with? It's not
Yes.
magic, right? It's true.
True.
But the communication is like, but the thing is, before you get to this point, there is a lot of work need to be done. For example, you don't know your body, both gentleman and lady, right? We both don't know that, am I able to conceive, right?
Mm.
That is simple, right? You say it's like, I know that we got a lot of listen, oh, accidentally pregnant. Yes, but at the same time, is you don't know your body well enough to say, hey, am I healthy enough? Because just because you're outside, you're healthy. You don't know inside. I'm not talking about just women, but also gentlemen as well. Have you got all those things? But the thing is, like those things is not part of the routine body check.
No,
So
not even sorted.
you know what you talk about. Exactly. So even, I mean, and a lot of things is like, well, you're talking about women health. Actually, it's not just about women. It's also about gen. Both go hand in hand, because if you need to be both healthy before you got to the point. So that is what I'm thinking. That, like you say, being open about, like asking question about it, and also, but the difficulty, even though in a Western culture, British culture, they all think that that is a woman thing, and also that we always think that that is so private that we shouldn't talk about it in the table. You know,
Yeah.
it's just not the case.
No, it's funny, and I'm meeting kids now. They're not kids; they're adults. Like my boys are mostly adults, and they've got partners. But I'm meeting people now who are IVF babies, and that fascinates me even because I was definitely well into my 30s before I knowingly met my first person who was going through IVF, never mind somebody who was an IVF baby. And people will ask really rude things, me included, because I didn't know any better. But they'll ask really rude things about IVF as to whether, so is your dad your dad? Was
Yeah.
it your mom or was it your dad? It's kind of like, I know with women we'll often get asked a lot of questions that are really inappropriate, and we'll put them to one side, the ones that we're always complaining about. But even when it comes to things like whether we've got our period, whether we're it's that time of the month, whether we've got brain fog because we are pregnant, or in menopause, like you're just angry because you're in menopause. But the one, like, it can be apart from IVF being a very invasive procedure on both counts for both the women and the men to have all those investigations done, and the psychologically to have to go through that process and understand where the fault is, if that's how people feel it. And then if you take it into the workplace or take it around your peers and your friends, it comes with a lot of judgment too. Do you think that there's ways that workplaces or even peers or colleagues could learn more about how to be more supportive of your peers that are going through that?
In two different ways, right? One is family. Because like family education is how you go into the workplace, right? You start from there. So if you already like you don't feel comfortable to talk in a family setting, then it's very difficult to go to the next step, because in the workplace we need to be professional, right? So I think that is the first thing, is like the culture. Second thing is that the barrier or the culture of hierarchy. I think that is not only just Asian that who got it, but Asian still got more stronger. But in Brit, I think it's still quite strong. Some of the things you won't say to your dad. Mom would definitely. Mom normally is the one who know everything, right?
There are no boundaries.
Boy, it's like Jen. It's like they don't really think about, like, can I ask about this? Can I really talk about it? They don't even know. Sometimes it's like that kind of thing. But the thing is, at the moment, especially working technology and data and stuff, we got more gentlemen in the workplace more than women as well. So the thing is, you're not even able to talk to those things with your father or your brother. Okay, you can say that your father is more hierarchy generation. Fine. What about your brother? Do you find it easy to talk to your brother about those kind of things? I would say that no, it's awkward, because he's like, no, I don't want to hear it. It's too awkward, right? So it's already like that. It's like we are all informally that, that kind of topic is too awkward. And then you go older and older. So I would say that it's more about the family education starting first, to be okay and open about it before we can go to the workplace. But from a company point of view, I think it's more like encourage about different topic is good. But having said that, I think I'm working in a more like a research, like because the area that or people that I'm more working in the place who want to push the boundary. So people like that more than happy to talk about new things that never happened before, things that. So for this end, I'm quite lucky that I got a group of people around me that are happy to talk about it. But unfortunately, that we also still got a lot of traditional setting. So the barrier is, if you start from the boy to the boy, they can talk about it, then hopefully everyone can talk about it.
We'll all get more comfortable then. And like you've said there that you've been working in math and in tech for a long time. Have you seen how the data and the technology side of things, are you seeing a shift in how that's being used to support women with their health?
I would say yes, because it's got more startup and people that who would like to do that. And also, being a female, we got more female scientists to start to vocalize what is not there. So for me, it's like the first thing first, from a data point of view, we have been always collecting data from a gentleman. What about ladies? So that is the first thing. And is it therefore, I would say no, it's just unfortunate that the senior management majority is still quite gentlemen dominated. And when they talk about things, they don't. It's not their fault that they don't think about everything. It's just unfortunate that when you're not in that position, sometimes you just oversight and oversee. So for us to be able to have a seat in the table, not necessarily about me, but like someone also come from a female that have a table that representing me, I already think is already a lot better. But at the same time, it's still a long way to go. It's not there yet. So few things I would say is like one from a younger generation. I would say that we need to encourage them to be open minded. You encourage them to say the things because the world is so different compared to used to be, and also that is so you need to think outside the box. And which is something is good that now the society is encouraged. So it's great. But it's not there yet. So we at the same time from my older generation, I find it really hard to crack is you don't know everything. We need to learn. And then you're like, what do you mean you don't know everything? Well, 10 years ago, have we got TikTok? No. Have you got new way of communication? You don't know it. So it's not you being stupid or anything. It's nothing about that because the technologies do not exist. And the world is changing. How can we adopt it? Not just me, you, it's everyone in the world to do that.
Yeah. That's a lot. And you talk about TikTok. It's funny. I think we've moved a little bit now from Dr. Google to Dr. TikTok now instead. And I know like a lot of people would find TikTok responsible for them seeking an ADHD diagnosis. I mean, I don't know how many videos people sent me on TikTok when it came to seeking my one, but it probably was a contributing factor in it. So if you, for any younger women or anyone, I guess, going into mathematics and analytics, is there anything that you would recommend to them that you wish you knew when you were starting it?
Well, I wish that there's internet because there's so many things that you can learn. But at the same time, yes, they're so overwhelming as well. Like you say, TikTok.
Yeah.
A lot of wrong things have been taught in TikTok. So I would say that, like you mentioned before, like LinkedIn, for example, is a really good way to find a mentor. Because sometimes you don't need to have just one mentor or you get on with it. Sometimes sometimes people click. Sometimes people don't. It doesn't mean that you hate each other. It just we click and we don't click. I learn better from you, then I learn better than him. So I would say that don't give up just because you have one bad teacher or one bad role model, because sometimes people are not what they seem, but you just open minded say, just listen to what they say. You know, even now, I would say I learn from people that I junior than I do. I'm like, oh, okay, I didn't realize that you can do that because it's not your normal mindset. But at the same time, I would say, do not afraid to ask questions.
Yeah.
That is quite important.
I think a saying that we used to hear when I was little is there's no such thing as a stupid question. And it's changed a little bit for me because I'm like, there is such thing as a stupid question, but there should be no such thing as a wrong question to ask. You know, so what if it's stupid? You're asking one that at least 30% of that room is probably wants to ask but is afraid to do so. If you were to look back then at your career so far, is there anything that you might have done differently, do you think?
Well, loads. I can be quite stubborn. But it's a good thing being stubborn sometimes.
Yeah.
I would say differently a lot. Honestly, if you're looking back, a lot of things you can do better. But having said that, it's like who doesn't, right? Who doesn't look and say, hey, I wish I can redo it. I wish that make mistake, and I wish if I can go back to my 18 years old, I would say don't afraid of making mistake. It's fine to make mistake, and also especially at your beginning of your career, that people are okay for you to make mistake because it's part of the job. Otherwise, you become a senior director immediately. You don't need to be training to get to the level. So that is the one thing. Second thing I would say, when I talk, I got really strong accent, which is something I try to change, but not able to because of it's not excuse, I would say, but math is something talk to me. Math is just something like I can just do it within like minute. Like like stuff. But the language, he does not talk to me the same ways that I do. I just find it really difficult to. But having said that, is when someone say my strong accent doesn't mean that I'm having a bad English or cannot communicate. So don't let other
No.
people using that as an excuse to push you down, because yes, I got accent, but it doesn't mean that I would not want to communicate with you, because that is a multiple way of communicate, and also it's both sides. And I learn now that if I don't understand something or people speak too fast that I'm firstly met, it's okay to say, "Hey, what did you just say that word? The vocabulary I never
Yeah.
heard before. Can you explain to me?" And sometimes more like, "I really do not understand what you're talking about. Can you find another way to explain to me what it is?" Or is that makes sense? So I wish that I can go back and say that, hey, it's okay to have accent. It's okay to be you. It's okay that being you doesn't mean that you're being mean or being impolite and things like that. It's not. Sometimes you need to have your character with you to do
Yes.
things. Sometimes you need to believe yourself a little bit more. So that would be, I would say.
I love that. Now I have three little pop quiz questions, quick questions that I'm going to throw at you. Just
Yeah.
curious to see what your answer would be. They're kind of similar but different. But one would be, if you could change or add any one thing to your day today to make it better, what would it be?
Oh, that. Stop looking at my phone all the time. And I'm I cannot stop it.
I'm the same. I'm the
Because
same.
every 10, 15 minutes, I just wish that I just don't have that kind of attachment to it. So that is the first
Yeah.
one. So yeah, I would say that.
Um, and then if you could add or change one thing to your entire career that you think would make it better, what would it be?
Make it better. I already think my career is great. Already.
Perfect
I
answer.
I
That's an
would say
absolutely
this.
perfect answer. I love it.
What
It's been so great to have you. I really enjoyed it.